So you actually mentioned two things that there was 2 points I wanted to kind of jump into more detail in the book, and you mentioned them. So one of these was spermidine. So I'm kind of interested because it's come up in a couple of talks, like when we were talking to Professor Kennedy, Brian Kennedy, he mentioned spermidine. So do you have a target for spermidine intake, and how do you kind of try and get your spermidine? And
so I put a list in the book for spermidine content from food. So as you know, or I probably said in other places, that I favor getting my nutrition from whole foods as much as possible, and supplementation only in the situation where the food-based strategy or my exercise strategy isn't, no matter what I do, I can't change whatever biomarker or variable that I'm trying to affect. So in terms of spermidine, yeah, I put a list in the book that's based on a couple of studies, spermidine content in milligrams per 100 grams of food. And if I remember correctly, I think green bell peppers and mushrooms, raw mushrooms, have the highest spermidine content. And just for people who don't know, spermidine has been shown to increase average lifespan in I think mice. And again, it's got some impacts, I think, on improving gut barrier function. So broccoli and cauliflower are also on the list. The question is, how much spermidine would you need to, supercharge, and get the, the lifespan, potential lifespan extending effects in humans? That's unknown. It could vary based on, a lot of different factors. But based on how much is in the broccoli and the cauliflower, I'm probably getting about at least 20 milligrams or so per day. Whether that's enough, I don't know, but time will tell. So far, the biological age is still relatively young, right? So obviously I'm doing something right.
Yes, that's working. Yeah. So, and the other one was, fat increase. So like fat cells is helping with immunity. And I mean, because in general, right, everything is like, you want to be slim as you get older, right? Fat has more inflammation associated with it. And actually, when I was talking to Professor Barzilai, he mentioned that his kind of the best BMI was like 27 for longevity, but everywhere else I see that it's like between 18 and 24. So I'm trying to square these circles, and so what's your kind of thinking on fat as you get older, and does it help?
Yeah. So personally, I'm trying to stay as lean as possible for as long as possible. But along those lines, as you mentioned, there is data that shows that people who have an overweight BMI, 27 or so, do have an increased life expectancy compared to young or lighter BMIs. So there are a couple of things going on there. One is just survivor bias. It's possible that the leaner subjects were unhealthy for whatever reason, and then they die off, and then what's left are the overweight subjects. Now, I don't know if that's the case, but so I first got started thinking about this idea that fat, now I'm not trying to glorify having an increase in fat mass, and I'm not trying to fat shame, at the same point too, but just to illustrate that fat has some antimicrobial properties, in that the adipocytes. So one study that came out a few years ago showed that when you expose skin cells to the gram-positive bacterium Staph aureus, and when you think about a staph infection, like an athlete that gets a staph infection, and then you look at their lower leg and they've got a hole in their skin, that's Staphylococcus aureus. So the skin that I think when the adipocytes, the fat cells, were exposed to the bacterium, they proliferated and started making antimicrobial peptides. One of them being LL37, which, as I mentioned, has broad antimicrobial capabilities, both bacteria and virus. So then along those lines, having an obese BMI, higher BMIs than less than 25, they've been shown to, I think it's in the same study that this data was published, they have an increase in the precursor for LL37, which is CAMP. So that would suggest that there's an increase in systemic microbial burden. So the obese have more fat, so they're producing more of this antimicrobial peptide. So, and actually there was the study that was just recently published by Suzanne Devkota's lab that kind of showed a similar story, that microbes that translocated, I think, into fat ended up proliferating and making more of itself to try to fight off the microbial invaders. So I think personally, ideally, staying as lean as possible is the goal. But with aging, there's going to be a decrease in immune function, and one compensatory mechanism may involve the body increasing fat mass to aid the immune system to fight off whatever microbes are adversely affecting it. So, but again, I prefer to stay as lean as possible. But if that's going to help me live as long as possible, then it is what it is.
Thank you all for watching. I hope that you found the video informative. Please do hit the thumbs up button, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell button for new video release notifications. It encourages us to continue to create more videos about anti-aging and extending healthy lifespan. Thank you so much for your kind support. I wish you all well and will speak to you again soon.